So what's up, what's up? If you know, then you know the car that sits behind me is three things for certain. Number one, it's a bad mamma jamma. Number two, it's a hard car to get. And number three, different people are gonna pay different prices for this car. Depends on how you structure your deal, but more so than that, depends on supply and demand. The more restricted supply is, the greater the demand, the higher the price for this car. That's how it goes. So what I'm gonna do for you today is I'm gonna tell you exactly how much I paid to drive this car out the door. But before I get into that, I want to give you a little bit of a backstory on how I got the car, because I got it in a bit of an unconventional way compared to what I consider the conventional way that most people are getting this car right now. Most people are getting this car based off of being on a list at a dealership. So they get on the list, they wait until their allocation comes available, then they order their spec that they want. That car comes in, they're the new owner. In my case, I was on a list, but when my spec became available or my allocation became available in August of 2023, I was like, nah, I don't want that one because I really want the 07 package. And that was just the ZO6 package. But what happened was, September came, October came, and nothing happened. I started to get antsy. And I was like, man, I made a mistake. I should have just got the regular 06. But it was too late. So I was getting a little antsy. I was like, let me find another ZO6. So I went out and I found in Atlanta that I could get on a list, and it was $7,600 over MSRP to get on that list, right? And it was 350 people on the list. So I was like, nah, I don't want to get on that list. I might as well stay where I am, because where I am is $15,000 over MSRP, but I'm at the top of the list. At least that's what I'm convincing myself of, because I was just on the list, just had an allocation came up. I had to turn it down, so I'm still thinking I'm at the top of the list. But I'm still also saying to myself, maybe not. So that's why I'm looking other places now for ZO6 for sale. So I find this car online. And when I first saw it, I'm thinking to myself, nah, this is gonna be another one of those deals where it's $50,000 above MSRP, because I had called several different places and that's what I was getting. Well, talked to this guy, long story short, they wanted $10,000 over MSRP. That's where we settled at. Now, how much I paid in total, this car is a 2024 3LZ ZO6. It's $135,000 about thereof, right? It's $10,000 worth of options on this car. So a total of $145,000, about $5,000 in taxes. I paid $150,400 out the door on this car. I was satisfied with that price. After I looked everywhere else and what I would be paying at the different places, this was the best deal for me. Now, the downside of it was I didn't choose my own spec. This was already chosen by the dealership, which was a big downside, because, that was the whole reason of getting on a list in the first place, was to be able to get your own spec the way you want to do your car, right? But I was like, man, it just feels like I'm running out of time. I want one now, so I went ahead and I got this one. And I have thoroughly enjoyed this car. I really, really like it, but that is a downside to not being able to choose your own car, not being on the list and going through that whole process, right? But with that said, $150,400 was a price that I was comfortable with. Some people say, hey, I wouldn't pay that much. Some people say I would pay that and a little bit more. Just depends on how bad you want the car. I wanted it bad enough to pay $10K over MSRP. That's what I wanted to share with you guys. Hopefully this information was helpful. See you at the top.